Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Archons and their effect on society and how this sort of plays out. So first let's talk about some of my experiences, and before that I'm just going to explain a little bit sort of how Archons hide in society and affect its structure. So many people have sort of a negative view of corporations because corporations, it's not a person or any kind of anything that you can actually directly confront, because it's a nameless, faceless entity that is created on a piece of paper but yet still exists and has power and influence in society. So something I've recently realized is that when any kind of these big systems or corporations, any kind of nameless, faceless entities, I know I use entities very specifically, but in this case I'm using it as more of like a separate sort of collection of power. If you've ever tried to fight a corporation, as far as maybe having your identity stolen, or tried to, maybe a insurance company overcharged you and you weren't able to get your money back or something like that, and I'm going to go into my personal examples in just a second, but you know how frustrating it can be because on one hand, the customer service person on the other end of the phone, they seem helpful, it sounds like they want to help, but it's just like nothing is getting done. So what's happening is that in a lot of these, in a lot of the structures or corporations of society, there is, and specifically corporations, there's typically an archon behind that face of the nameless, faceless corporation or entity that is created based on a piece of paper. So people are like, oh, well, how do corporations have so much power? It's because with any large corporation, typically there's going to be some kind of archon influence. It doesn't even need to be a massive corporation, but any kind of thing where there's hierarchy and there's kind of levels to it, there's most likely an archon behind that corporation. I mean, I've worked for small businesses where I didn't get that feeling, but again, I'm talking more about the bigger businesses. So here are some things that have recently happened to me, all within really this past year and a half maybe. So here are all the things that I've had to deal with from the corporations, and that's how I put all these things together, because I'm like, why does this seem like I get, the crap end of the stick in every sort of corporate situation? Like, why is this happening to me? I don't want to feel like a victim, but I don't know how I can, fight the corporations or try to get justice for what happened if, no one is willing to help me. So here's some things that have happened. I recently, earlier this year, had my identity stolen. So again, aside from all the soul stealing, soul retrieval thing, this is literally like someone stole my social security number and my name and was trying to open credit cards and other things like that. And then, so my boyfriend was trying to he got a new phone, so he was going to give me his old phone, but they couldn't unlock it. Like, there was something wrong with it where we had to keep calling and calling and calling, and it took several weeks before they were able to unlock the phone to give it like a new number and switch it over, okay? Another thing that happened is that I was due for a refund with my car insurance company. They messed up my refund. They they said they were gonna get it. Oh, everything's good. I call back. Why haven't I gotten it yet? Oh, we need you to sign this form, and we didn't realize. Okay, sign the form. Why haven't I gotten it yet? Oh, something happened in the system. It took weeks to get these refunds, right? So that was extremely frustrating because I had to keep calling and following up and asking and all these things. And then if you watched my most recent video, I talk about how there was an archon living in this apartment that I applied for. And this was, it was a nicer apartment, so there was, kind of a big upfront admin fee and all these things in addition to the application fee. So the admin fee and some other fee they had is refundable since we didn't get approved for that one. But again, the check got lost in the mail, so now I have to wait around for them to cut a new one. And after that last incident where my refund check from the Archon infested apartment got lost in the mail, I'm like, maybe there's a connection. So I started thinking about it and all these things that have happened to me recently where it feels like I cannot find someone to help me, or at least have to keep calling and calling and calling and calling and, trying to argue with these people, which is pointless. If you've ever tried to call a credit bureau, you know how frustrating it is. So, and it's like there's no one, it seems like, can help you because it's not the people that are standing in the way, it's the archons behind the corporations That's how Archons get their power in society, is through the corporations, because again, it's an entity. It's it's not a person, but it's some kind of thing that has power in society. So the Archon is able to become that nameless, faceless force and power behind that creation. So another thing that Archons do, besides just becoming the face, or I guess the mask behind the corporation, is that they do, when they attack individuals, they do so to take away this person's boundaries and their personal power. So when I say personal power, I'm referring to their willpower, their ability to set boundaries and have people actually respect them. Any kind of bite that might come after a bark, they attack that bite because they don't want people to be self-empowered. So if you struggle with willpower, or you feel like you're always being targeted by people and it seems like you can't fight back, you may have been targeted by an Archon either in this life or a past life. I know in my previous video I said I was targeted in this life, but not directly head on, where I realized recently that in a past life I had been targeted directly head on, where I was just living my life, just being a part of the community, and then this Archon decided to attack me. And I got really sick and I couldn't think straight, and everyone's like, oh my god, what's wrong with this person? It seems like, they're becoming ill or mentally ill, but there's nothing physically wrong with them. They must just be weak. So that's kind of the energy that the Archons want to put people into. So if they can't, or decide not to attack you directly, like for me in this life, it's more like an indirect thing. They attack you either through the people around you and or all the different creations of society and these, pieces of paper that have power somehow over us. So that's how they typically attack. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.